September is Suicide Prevention Month, so we have an ask for you, and it's a big one. We want you to take on the responsibility of asking your loved ones about mental health and suicide. Whether you're a child, a parent, a sibling, a colleague, a coworker, a friend, let's have the collective goal of not letting anybody else slip through the cracks. It's our loved ones that we miss warning signs in the most because it's nuanced, and mainly because people are afraid to have the conversation. So today, I'm going to walk you through what the conversation could look like. I am going to warn you that this topic may feel scary and uncomfortable. Your blood pressure may rise, your heart rate may increase, but I can assure you that it's okay. And the more you talk about mental health and suicide, the more comfortable it will slowly become. So first, I really want us to do some internal work. Let's take an honest assessment of how we react when we hear big things. Are we somebody who instantly tries to fix it? Are we somebody who clams up and doesn't have anything to say? Our reactions are important. A study has found that how we react when somebody opens up about suicide not only determines our relationship with that person, but their willingness to get help in the future. So it truly starts with our reaction. Educate yourself. Go on our website or do a simple Google search. Look at the warning signs and see what they are. Then, think about your loved ones right now and their behavior. Many people make the mistake of thinking the warning signs are going to be huge and exaggerated. And yes, they can be, but it can also be to a much lesser degree. Nobody knows your loved ones as well as you do. Therefore, as you start noticing small signs, it's time to check in and see exactly how they're feeling. The first step is centering ourselves. We have to be present in the moment. So when I'm about to ask somebody, I take a deep breath and I slowly exhale. That exhale makes your blood pressure go down, and it also decreases your heart rate, which allows us to be more in the present and focused on what the other person is saying. It is so easy, I know for me, to assume I know the answer to a question when it's a loved one because I think I know their experiences. They told me about their day. They told me about their breakup, so I think I already know it. But that's when I miss the most. That's when I miss underlying pain. So I have to back up, take that deep breath, ask, and really listen for those clue words. At times, it's almost like being a detective. If they say bad, okay, good, I question what they mean by that. I'm doing okay. Well, what does okay mean? Oh, it feels really bad. What does bad feel like to you? There's a lot of nuances to the conversation, and the key to a successful conversation is non-judgmental support. So what does that mean exactly? There's two ways we can say things. You're not thinking about suicide, are you? When we say that, we mean it from the bottom of our hearts. We want to make sure that that's not what's going on, but we've just added judgment there. So it sounds and feels a lot better to others when we simply ask, are you thinking about suicide? That accomplishes a few things. A, we're saying the word for them. Sometimes it's very hard for somebody struggling to have to say that word. Two, now they know we're confident in it. We can say it, which means we're comfortable with the topic. We've also taken out the judgment, so maybe we're not so scary to talk to. We want to keep the conversation going, but frequently it's very, very slowly. So we don't have to always have the next thing we're going to say. A lot of people say they feel most supported when we sit in their words for a moment. That also allows us to feel what they're saying before we gather our thoughts and ask for a further explanation. It's so important that we continue to be direct and confident with what we say. And the less we say, the more we're actually saying. So simple phrases, if you don't know what to do, such as, tell me more, or wow, that sounds really difficult. It goes a long way. It's not as cheesy as you may think, and you don't need to have the answers because you don't have the answers. So our vulnerability and our authenticity is what's going to allow them to have that as well. We 100% know that vulnerability meets vulnerability. And if you want, you can do little exercises with it. Decide to be vulnerable about something that scares you or makes you uneasy. See what the people around you say. Make eye contact when you're doing it, but what you'll find more times than not is because you're vulnerable, they're going to be as well. The environment matters. It may feel awkward just walking up to a loved one and randomly talking about suicide, but luckily it's Suicide Prevention Month. So you can start the topic that way. Let them know that you're learning about it, that you want to be part of the support system, and use it as an excuse to continue the conversation as well. We have to recognize that our loved ones may not have the capacity to answer truthfully in the moment, and that's okay because you've opened the door. Now that you've spoken about suicide and mental health, they know that they have somebody they can come to, and that is powerful. By talking about suicide, they've now safeguarded themselves, and you have become a protective factor. So listen to them, encourage them to tell you more, get them to talk about anything that they're willing to talk about, and ask them if they would like your assistance in receiving help. We cannot be directive. This is a moment in time that we have to listen and move at the speed of trust. They may disclose that they're having thoughts of suicide, and it may take a month or two before they go to therapy. But be there for them. Just because they're thinking about suicide does not mean they're going to attempt. Tell them you can call the Suicide Lifeline together and let them walk you through the next steps so your loved one can have some control in what they want to do to proceed. I would like to acknowledge how difficult this is. So promise me you'll take care of yourself. You'll be gentle on yourself. And just as you're not going to judge your loved ones, don't be too judgy on yourself. Take a bath, read a book, go for a walk, do something, because what you've done today is extremely difficult. Talking about suicide is the only thing that lessens the desire to die by suicide. I know this isn't easy. It doesn't come naturally to everybody. As a nonprofit, this will be the most important ask we ever make. Your vulnerability and openness and willingness to embrace discomfort is going to help us save a life.